This is A's Cast Live. Comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
Rooker, it's a fly ball to deep center. Robert going back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Adolis Garcia sends one the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the wall. And the legend grows. Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season.
Julio with an absolute nuke out to left field.
It's Glaber Day. And like a good Glaber, Torres is there.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe. From humidors to Stuff Plus to walk-off dingers, we have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, hello, everybody. How are you? How are you, Commander Cody?
Good. Another day here at NBC in San Francisco. Nothing like the old drive from the South Bay to the city by the bay.
Remember all those great days at 95.7? For me, it goes back to KMBR, driving into San Francisco every day. Oh, so easy. But you know what we're talking about today? We're talking about a victory, a hard-fought victory. As the A's continue, you know what the A's, when we're going to look back at the 2024 season, you know what the A's are really good at?
Interleague play?
Interleague play.
Oh, I'm glad I got that one on the first guess.
Interleague play. The A's now are 21-20 in interleague play. So if they're in the National League, it'd be a whole different story. Unfortunately, they do not play in the National League. Trent Rosecrans.
See Trent Rosecrans.
I was about to say Trent Rosecrans. See Trent Rosecrans from The Athletic, a guy that we met in the bar at the winter meetings in Nashville.
Yeah.
Who does a great job covering the Reds. You can kind of get an overview of looking at the Central and the future of the Central, because right now the Milwaukee Brewers continue to have a stranglehold on that Central. And you had teams like Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. They had great hope. How about St. Louis?
Yikes.
There's some really disturbing news coming out of St. Louis. We hate to be the I told you so crew. You can get tickets today for Padres Cardinals, which Padres are in the playoffs if today ended. And Cardinals, I can just give you the update. Cardinals right now are 7 games out of the last wild card. How are they out of the division? It's got to be
9, maybe 10.
10.5.
Okay.
But this is Cardinal baseball. This has been considered the best fan base in all of the game. The strength of the St. Louis Cardinals, as they are they're more than just a regional team, because for so many years you didn't have teams like the Texas Rangers. So if you just think about the Midwest, St. Louis, from where they are all the way down into the South and deep into the South, that's been their fan base. So there's still a tremendous amount of St. Louis Cardinal fans. We're talking Oklahoma, Nebraska, all the way down to Texas. And they've had this huge, KOMX has been their flagship station. They have this huge radio network, and everybody just sings the praises of how great St. Louis is. Baseball town.
Well, we became really good friends with the Cardinals guys at the winter meetings.
Well,
they actually made moves while we were there.
You can get Cardinals Padres tickets today for $2.
I saw some going for $0.
$2. I got a buddy. My buddy Greg Fort, I've talked about. His wife is a college basketball coach. She just signed on with the University of Oklahoma, by the way. She's now going to be with the Lady Sooners.
Pretty good school.
So we've got a new in Norman. One of my good friends worked at San Jose State. He's now retired, a college administrator. So we got a place in Norman now to hang out. Love Norman, Oklahoma. Oklahoma City too is a good spot. $2, folks, for tickets. For all the stuff and the heat Oakland has taken all these years, right? We know you can get in over down the street here at Pac Bell Park for nothing. Now, how about St. Louis? It was the lowest attended crowd yesterday in their ballpark's history. And you've got a red hot, arguably now, since the All-Star break, not arguably, they do have the best record since the All-Star break. It's the Padres.
26-8 since July 20th.
So it's like, here you got a team that's the hottest team in baseball with names. It's not like they don't have names. It's not like the Marlins are in town. No offense. But
big win last night for them.
It's not the Marlins. And it's $2 tickets in St. Louis. Wow. So we got a lot to talk about when you talk about the Central. Also joining us today, Terrence Long. T. Long, we got a chance to hook up with him at it was Sunday, Alumni Sunday, and up in Mount Davis. And Terrence Long, I always loved T. Long, that sweet left-handed stroke, super athletic, and another guy that his entire career with the A's is talking playoff baseball and a lot of success. So this is actually probably our longest. We don't have a lot of time with the guys on Alumni Sunday because essentially they come to us first, then they go to NBC, then they got to go to sign autographs. So we get them first. They're fresh. They're not beaten up yet by the time we get them. But we don't have a really long period of time. We actually did with T. Long. How long was the interview? It's pretty long.
I want to say, I think it was somewhere around, I got it right here. It was 14 and a half.
Yeah. So usually they're about 7-8 minutes. We had a good stretch, and he's great to talk to about what he's doing now. I mean, he's a travel ball coach for his son, and he talks about, the travel ball madness, and he's keeping it from being that for his guys. And of course, when you're in the South, all your guys are also going to play football. So a lot to get into with Terrence Long. And then Laura Britt, who works here for NBC and NBC Sports Bay Area. And she is the host of Giants Pre- and Postgame Live. But I'm not here to talk about the Giants and the Giants win last night. They end up coming back and beating the Milwaukee Brewers 5-4. But I'm not here to talk about that. We will get into it a little bit. But we're here to talk about the Olympics, as she was one of the main hosts for the Olympics. When you break away from the certain hours with Mike Tirico, it was Sunday morning. I'm sitting there with my kids. By the way, my kids started their first classes today.
Proud dad moment again. Oh, the school's actually started, not hang out in Berkeley.
It is a proud moment, but it's like, here we go, right? It's like, it's time to get go. We celebrate these kids so much now. My God.
Are you counting down the weeks until school's over?
When they
graduate?
Seriously. We had graduation parties, and you graduate from high school, and I didn't say that my kids know how I feel, but I did say this to a couple of my buddies' kids. As I had to go to these graduation parties, I pulled him aside, and my one good friend's son, Ben, I pulled him aside and I go, you're supposed to graduate from high school, right?
You're not wrong.
Right. Now he's going to UCLA, so the kid's a smart kid, and he laughed. I'm like, you're supposed to graduate from high school. So, but yeah, we celebrate these kids. We have parties. We have this, we have that, and we move them in, and oh my God, the emotion, everything. Time to go to work. This is the real world now. You got to show up and you got to deliver. You've waited your whole life. It's college time. It's now about the experience. It's going to school. When you're going to a place like Cal, you're going to school with some of the smartest kids in the country. And if you don't show up and work hard and put in the effort, they're going to run laps around you. I'll never forget, would have been, was it 1994 when Cal had its best football team probably ever? When they finished fourth in the country, they beat who'd they beat? Clemson in the Gator Bowl.
Look,
Coach Snyder, Bruce Snyder was the head coach. My buddy played on that team, Brett Callen.
1994 California Golden Bears. That year it wasn't 94. They were
92.
94. They were 4-7.
Try 92 then.
93 they played in the Alamo Bowl against Iowa. They were 9-4. So let's see, 92. Nope, wasn't 92.
91?
91, they won the Citrus Bowl against Clemson.
Citrus Bowl.
They were 10-8.
I knew it was a Florida Bowl. So my buddy played on that team, and it was 91?
91, yeah.
So it would have been in the 91 season, the 92, because that would have been on January 1.
Offense or defense?
Brett Callen, he was a wide receiver.
Oh, so he's coached by Mooch, Steve Mariucci.
No, Mooch.
Well, he's the OC.
Was he there at that point?
Yeah.
Mooch was there at that point?
Yeah, he's the OC. Second year is the OC.
So after that, he'd go to Green Bay and then come back?
Yeah, I think so. Let me see. He was.
No, I'm not getting into Steve Mariucci in your deep dives.
No, he wasn't there. He left after the 91 season.
Okay, so point is 19. So it would have been 91. Yeah. He would have. So it's 91. It's the big game. It's a huge because Stanford was good too. Because I want to say they had touchdown Tommy Vardell at the time. They had a good team. And this is a big game, national television. It's the big game, because when Stanford and Cal are good, the game would have been like on ABC or whatever, because back then that would have been the Pac-10 game of the week. And I remember where do we go? Where's the there's that hotel that's got the Golden Bear drink. God, what the hell? I just remember we were partying all over Berkeley. And it was an early game.
Not the Claremont?
No, Claremont's way up on the hill. You know what I'm talking about. I'll remember it. There's a hotel and there's a famous bar there.
You better brush up on this Cal knowledge.
It's been a long time since I partied in Cal. But and I remember we were walking through a part of campus and there were all these kids studying. And they could care two you-know-whats that there was this major football game about to go on. Could not care less. Now, that doesn't happen in the SEC. If you've got LSU playing Alabama on game day, I'm telling you, the campus is a ghost town, and everybody's either at the game or they're watching the game. At Cal, there's a lot of students who could give you-know-what about sports. So I've tried to tell my kids, it's the big leagues of education. And if you don't bring it, you will get lapped. This isn't San Jose State, my friends.
Big one tomorrow. Season starts tomorrow.
Yeah, what do we got? We got Sac State?
Stingers. What do they say? Stingers up, whatever the hell it is. Yeah, tomorrow
They're the
night.
Hornets, right?
Yeah.
Sac State. Body bag game.
7 o'clock.
Bring it on.
Ken Notamalolo's first game as a head coach of the Spartans.
College football is here. It is great. I want to start today's show. I don't even know. You want to talk Gelof. You know what? I'm going to start today's show with this.
It was positive, Gelof. That's why.
I'm going to start today's show with this. My big takeaway. The big takeaway is yesterday after the game. I don't know if you guys got to see. I was the analyst. I got to be the host today. How about that? I was the analyst yesterday on A's Pre and Post Game Live, and today I'm going to be the host. I'm like the Max Schuemann of NBC, I guess.
Maybe tomorrow you'll do both.
I could do the show solo. You kidding me? I don't need anybody. The big thing that I took away was after the game, showed the post-game interview with Max Schuemann. And the smile on his face was so awesome. He's a good-looking kid, young kid. He's getting an opportunity probably never thought he was ever going to get. And to see the smile on his face, and he was so happy, and the A's had won. It's like something I wish I could just bottle up. Like the essence truly of what sports is all about. Opportunity, winning, joy. It's what it's about. Nothing about money, nothing about contracts, nothing about none of that. Just to see the pure joy in that interview of Max Schuemann had done well, his team had won. Let's not forget, he got bumped to third base. Doesn't matter. He's getting an opportunity. It was so refreshing to watch. And I wish I had the picture of just Max Schumann's smile. It was of joy. Too many times we don't have joy going on. Why? Because this sport's hard. Professional sports is hard. Doesn't matter which sport. You think there's a lot of joy in the NFL? No, there's a lot of pain. Now, the flight home after wins, yes, but those guys are in pain. These long seasons. So to see that yesterday, I was really, really happy for Max Schuemann. Because if I think I threw the Kalamazoo at Brody yesterday, he was like, "What?" I'm like, "I had 2 shortstops from Kalamazoo." He had no clue.
Play Yankee Stadium. You're using the Johnny,
I'm like, you've heard this guy.
Stat.
You have this guy Jeter, right? You know this guy Jeter. You're a 20th round pick out of Eastern Michigan,
powerhouse baseball school.
I mean, who gives you a chance? No one gives you a chance. And all you do is work your ass off year after year after year. You play hard. You're giving it everything you got, thinking you got no chance. And everybody that manages you, everybody who coaches you in the A's minor league system goes, I love this kid. Why? Because he does things that help you win. We are so into this garbage. Baseball savant, and look at all these. Does it help you? Does this help you win?
No, not always.
He does things that help you win day in and day out. He brings the right attitude. He hustles. He knows how to play. And the reward that he is getting, let's face it, when he first came up, Mark Kotze, in privacy, told me basically, I don't care if he ever plays, he's a body. Well, he went from being a body to a guy that had to play every day at shortstop because they had nobody else. They had nobody else on the roster who had ever played shortstop except Ruiz. And you weren't going to put Ruiz at shortstop or in the infield at that point. No one else on the roster plays short. Now, we did ask Abraham Toro, who has cleared waivers and he's going to be in Vegas. We did ask Toro, like, have you ever played shortstop? And it, like, I think he said in college or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was college, yeah.
College, high school. But literally at the professional level, nobody had played shortstop. So Max Schuemann had to play. No matter what he hit, no matter what he did, he had to play. And he showed himself well. And he's hit a little bit. Got a good eye. He'll walk. For the most part, makes routine plays. He's made some errors, but, he's feeling his way through it. But he held his own playing 9 innings every single day. It was like a Cal Ripken schedule. If you remember, he played X amount of straight games until they finally, I can't remember who they had come in that could play. Oh, it was Aletmus Diaz came off the IL. He'd been on the IL all season. Aletmus Diaz comes off the IL, and then all of a sudden, now somebody can play shortstop. You give Max Schuemann a break. I mean, he literally had a Cal Ripken-like schedule. Or like Miguel Tejada. Miguel Tejada, 6 straight years, played every single game. That's grueling. And now you're going to make way for the future. Jacob Wilson is the future at shortstop for the Athletics. And we've had David Forst on and asked him about Max Schuemann, because what now makes Max Schuemann, other than that smile that I saw yesterday, which makes him so valuable, is the fact that one roster spot can literally play 7 positions. In a day where we have no bench, like I write down the bench. Yesterday, the bench for the A's was McCann, Nevin, and Duhar, who was hurt, now goes on the IL with a core issue. And Nick Allen has been called up. But your bench was 4 people yesterday. McCann, your backup catcher, Nevin and Duhar and Alvarez. That's it. Because we have so many pitchers, 13, we only have 4 guys on the bench. So if you have one player who can play 7 different positions, that's 3 outfield, 4 infield. Hell, he probably could catch if you asked him to do it. But legitimately can play anywhere in the diamond. And Bobby Crosby, who managed him in Midland, said, yeah, he does not hurt you playing second base, shortstop, third base, outfield, center, left, right. He can play them all. And on a really good team, a player like Max Schuemann, that kind of versatility. So when a guy like a starter and Duhar gets banged up a little bit, you can put Schuemann in left and you're good. He may not be the same bat, but he's not hurting you. A guy that's versatile in our game today and can have a lot of gloves is amazing. And when you look at his night last night, so you had Jacob Junis had a no-no going, and for everybody out there was, why are you going to take a guy out with a no-hitter? I totally agree. Well, this guy hasn't been a starter. You knew he was only giving you X amount of innings. And by the way, all those, I know on the television broadcast, I'm sure they talked about on the radio, all the positive notes about him are from Milwaukee. He hasn't been good here in Cincinnati. All of his good, the 4-0 and he had like a 4-0 2-point-something ERA. That's why he was traded in the Frankie Montas deal. But his Cincinnati numbers haven't been good. But there's a reason why. But there was a shelf life to him. But Seth Brown would walk to break up the perfect game. But it was Max Schuemann in the 6th who broke up the no-no.
The home run, right?
No, double.
Oh, he did a home run later. Yeah, the double. Yeah, and then Lawrence Butler obviously had another home run. But yeah, Schuemann. It's funny you mentioned that. If Schuemann can have the career, I think about this. You're talking about how versatile he is. Reminded me of a former A as well. Remember how good, how versatile.
You have a comp? Are you going Billy Owens here with a comp?
I don't. I'd have to look at the career numbers, but I'm just going off the top of my head. You know, if Schuemann could have the career of Ben Zobrist, I'll take it. You don't think Zobrist is that good of a player? I mean, he played how many positions?
I think Ben Zobrist is an incredible player who made a lot of money in this game, being that guy.
It could be a bit extreme, but I'm just looking.
And Ben Zobrist, at one point, wasn't he a highly touted prospect? Ben Zobrist, World Series champion. Ben Zobrist. I just don't.
What round was he drafted in? 9th rounder. Come on, it's like he was a first rounder.
Okay, Ben Zobrist made $86 million in his career. You think this is a good comp? How about Chad Pinder?
Okay, there you go.
Now he won't. He doesn't.
I want on the high upside side.
Yeah, I'm like.
I want a bit extreme.
Zobrist played 14 years, was a 3-time All-Star, and made $86 million. Now I think Max Schuemann would agree with you, and I think Max Schuemann would like to have $86 million after taxes, have over 40 mil.
Wouldn't we?
I think Schuemann would agree with you.
Wouldn't we all?
But you see where I'm going. And then after the double, he got the base hit to break up the no-no. In the next inning, the 7th, he hit the 2-run shot to put the A's on the board for the first time. So the A's were getting no hit. It was a perfect game. Then it was still a no-hitter. He breaks up the no-hitter. Then he hits a 2-run home run, the opposite field. And by the way, Mark Kotze, well, it went out here. I mean, obviously, if it was in Oakland, it wouldn't have gone out. Why do we say that in baseball?
It's a good point. I'm going to look at the way you talk. I'm going to look up, see how many ballparks that ball would not have been in a home run in if we're going to play that game. Because, we do that all the time with Yankee Stadium and home runs that are hit there.
I mean, I don't understand why we do that. What is the point of saying, well, it wouldn't have been a home run? Well, who cares? We're not playing there. The only thing that matters is where you hit the home run on the day you're playing. Does it matter what you do in Oakland when you're not in Oakland? No.
Okay, Kotze is not wrong, according to Baseball Savant, but you don't say that. Yeah, it was only, according to Baseball Savant, only 4 stadiums that's a ball that goes out in.
But where were we playing?
One of the 4.
So isn't that the only thing that matters?
Yeah, 1 out. That's all that matters.
I mean, we can sit here and say, when you play football at Mile High, you can kick a field goal up at Mile High. That's a lot different than kicking a field goal, let's say, at Levi Stadium. Duh, who cares? I'm in Mile High. That means I can attempt a 64-yard field goal.
Jason Elam.
Well, today we're here, and I can attempt that field goal because we're a mile high up. Well, you couldn't do that at Levi Stadium. Well, who gives a crap? We're not playing at Levi Stadium. That is like the most irrelevant point ever that gets made by people. Well, that wouldn't have been out somewhere else. Well, I play half my games at Yankee Stadium. So, by the way, it is out at Yankee Stadium.
It would be a home run at Yankee Stadium, according to the.
So, what does it matter? So, it wouldn't be a home run in Oakland. Well, we're not in Oakland, so what does it matter? So, Max Schuemann, does the box score say that? It's a 2-run shot for Max Schuemann, but if it would have been at the home ballpark.
Yeah. I don't understand that. One
more dumb things people say in baseball. But for Schuemann, and then he'd add another hit in the 8th inning, another base hit. So 3 hits for Max Schuemann on a day where he has to go play third base. And really kind of maybe the audition for him, right? Isn't this maybe an audition? Like, Wilson's going to play short. He's always, the kid hasn't stayed healthy yet, so Schuemann will go back to shortstop. And maybe Nick Allen coming up will mean that Schumann's going to play third, maybe full time. And this is kind of like, this is what an opportunity of a lifetime to play shortstop every day and then now get a chance to play third base every day and to showcase your wares. And I can never say this enough. Every single time you step on the field, you're playing for your organization and 29 of the teams. Everybody is watching. The eye in the sky is always watching. So a 20th round pick out of Eastern Michigan is getting a chance every single day to play at the big league level. He's gotten the chance at short. He's played some outfield. Now it looks like he's going to get run because we look at the lineup today. He's back in the lineup today playing third. He's going to get some run at third. I am really happy. Like, if you are, for us regular Joes, yeah, it's really easy to gravitate to great players. I love the great players. But you know what? To me, I love these stories. I don't know how long his career is going to be. You said Ben Zobrist. I don't know if he'll make $86 million. I don't know what Max Schuemann will be. But you know what? Max Schuemann is like us. He's like the everyday guy who's just looking for the opportunity, and he's busted his ass at every turn just to get that opportunity, just like you and I have. Max Schuemann is like the everyday person. And I really respect that. And I don't know how you can't be rooting for Max Schuemann. And I know normally you wouldn't lead the show. You'd be Mason Miller this. Mason Miller's not normal. Mason Miller's super gifted. Like all these other players, everybody wants to talk about the super gifted guys. I'm just telling you, last night I took away my big takeaway, how cool it was to watch Max Schuemann do what he did, playing third base, like kind of like, hey, this is the first time you're going to be the third baseman, and do what he did last night, and the A's won. What a great story.
Well said about Schuemann. And, watching the game, my big takeaway besides the win, and I was going to go, since we'll both do A's ones here, I was going to say I could pivot, but I'll stick with mine. I know he's having a down year offensively in Zack Gelof, but Gelof has a chance to join some elite company this year as an A's player. He'd be only the 11th A's player and the first second baseman to be join the 2020 club. Some of the names in that 2020 club: Sal Bando, Campy, Jose, Ricky, Reggie Jackson, and there's a few other: Dwayne Murphy, Mitchell Page, Ruben Sierra, Mike Davis, and most recently, 11 years ago, Coco Crispidit for the A's in 2013. So Gelof has a chance to join some elite company, becoming the next member of the 2020 club for the A's for a year that we know it's not been there offensively, batting average-wise, OPS. But Gelof's still grinding out there every single day. We saw the small plays he did in that game a couple weeks ago where we highlighted where he walked, he stole second, got the third on an overthrow, then scored on a sac fly. He's doing all the little things right, and he's not there. The strikeouts are up. But 2020 club, I'm looking forward to seeing that happen. Always looking for pot. Usually I'm negative. I'm not going to sell you worry. I'm going to sell you hope here.
I don't know why I laugh every single time I hear Ruben Sierra.
Well, here, do you want his numbers that year? The year Sierra did it. 1993, Ruben Sierra that year had 22 home runs, drove in 101 runs, stole 25 bags, and he hit 233.
He had a great career. Like, you look at what he was with the Texas Rangers, later on with the Yankees. Didn't he win a World Series with the Yankees? Was he on one of those teams?
Ruben Sierra
High Sierra, as Chris Berman used to call him.
They clearly don't have him listed as a World Series champion on Baseball Reference, but he was on the.
Yeah, he was 90.
He got traded in 96. He wouldn't have been on that team.
He was in New York in 96.
He was or did he go to Detroit after?
Where was he in 96?
New York.
How many games did he play in?
96. You get a World Series ring if you get traded?
Of course. Oh. Yeah, he would have got a World Series. He played 96 out of 162 games. He would have got a World Series ring.
Yeah, because the Yankees won in 96, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He had to have got a World Series ring.
Clearly on here, it doesn't have him listed as a World Series champion.
Didn't Tony La Russa call him the Village Idiot?
I don't know for sure.
Ruben Sierra. Yeah. It is really hard to believe. And we're talking a lot about it because of what happened last year with Ronald Acuna Jr. and now what's happening with Shohei Ohtani. But in the past, we really didn't, and Willie Mays even said it. If I knew 40-40 was a big deal. But how often do we talk about 20-20? I mean, that's a pretty damn good accomplishment. 20 dingers, 20 stolen bases. What that shows: power, speed, athleticism, and the fact that and you think of all the different players for the A's, and the list you're on is a pretty damn good list. And we look at Zack Gelof as this is a disaster season. But at the end of the year, you're going to look at, there's going to be some definite positives.
For sure. And that's why I wanted to look up for something that was interesting, because the power numbers are still there for him, and he's only played in 108 games, and the stolen bases were there. And it's crazy. Like, you think about the year Marcus Semien had was at 19. He hit 33 homers, but he only stole 10 bags. So I was thinking, did I miss something? But no, that's a list. He'd be the 11th player to do it.
Are we ready to talk a little Reds baseball? A little
Yeah.
Central?
Yeah.
Is my man there? How are you? Good to have you on the program again.
Good. Thanks for having me again.
Well, we were just talking about it because, with Zack Gelof, major prospect for us. A lot of people felt after, having an 840 OPS in his stint last year, that face of the franchise type of player. He was a second-round pick out of Virginia, and it's been a real struggle this year, but looks like he is going to be a 2020 guy. And, you're dealing with somebody there in Cincinnati. It's putting up numbers. I mean, he can be a historic player in Ellie De La Cruz. I like the fact that we truly start to highlight the power and the speed, and we're doing it in a lot of with Shohei Ohtani, because it just does show that we truly have some amazing athletes in our sport today.
Oh, yeah. And I'm of the age that, following Jose Canseco getting 40-40 being a huge thing. Same age. I just remember thinking that, heck, what would Eric Davis do when you talk about this power speed? And number 44 is for the Reds. I think it's great for the game. I think the game, that's obviously they wanted it. So many of the rules changes were focused on getting the stolen base back because, again, don't have to tell Oakland A's fans, but stolen bases are fun and they make the game better to watch. And Ellie De La Cruz has been phenomenal since for quite a while, we'll say.
Yeah, yesterday in the notes, I was looking at it, and I'm seeing that he leads the Reds in hits, dingers, extra base hits, slug, OPS, 61 steals going into yesterday's game, the most of anybody. The only closest guy, Shohei Ohtani. And you start thinking about, there's not a comp for this guy. And I don't even know what you could say the ceiling is for him. He's so dynamic, and the plays that we get to see, you get to see it up close. We get to see it on Quick Pitch, the highlight show on MLB Network, where he takes 90 feet like it's nothing. I mean, I'm not even going to ask you for a comp because I don't think there is. Is there any idea what you think the ceiling could be for this guy?
It's funny that's the term you use because it's one of those things that, I don't know that I've seen a young player where I've seen that what we consider the ceiling rise like he did. Usually, and I remember there was this, he could be almost as good as Tatis feeling. And this was when he was an unknown. This was actually the first time I ever heard of him when he had just gone to low A from the complex league. That was the ceiling and that was dreaming. And it seemed like every step he's taken, the ceiling has gone up. And so the floor has gone way up.
Official score, 1, 2.
The official score.
Official score, 3-4.
So
we haven't had a lineup change. By the way, who's going for the Reds tonight?
It's a bullpen game. Fernando Cruz is starting, but
it's a bolt game.
Yet another one. They're of their there 5 guys that they had for opening day. One of those was a placeholder, Nick Martinez, who did some starts then and is back in the rotation. He's the only guy back from opening day. You have Hunter Green, Andrew Abbott, Nick Lodolo, Graham Ashcraft all on the IL, and Frankie Montas will be coming in as a Milwaukee Brewer this weekend. So anyway, on Ellie is just I've never seen anyone that the thought about their ceiling rising like he has in my time covering the game.
Yeah, because when you think, for our generation, some of these kids listening or watching here on A's Cast may not remember Eric the Red. But Eric Davis, it was not fair that immediately his comp was Willie Mays, but
it's the only one.
Yeah. But his power, speed. I mean, I wish he wouldn't have played at Riverfront on that turf, just like all the Pittsburgh guys at Three Rivers or the Vet in Philadelphia. But I mean, Eric Davis to play center field, wiry, strong, out of Los Angeles, he literally could do it all. I mean, he was great. I mean, A's fans remember him from the 1990 World Series. But Eric Davis wasn't as big. This kid's faster. This kid is such a freakish athlete.
I will say Eric Davis didn't play shortstop and didn't switch hit. Let's and I know you're not doing this, but if you want to look at that 86-87 when Eric Davis was young and just at the top of his game. There's a thing from 86 to 87. You can take a 162 game span, and depending on where you do it, he is either 49.93 or 46.99.
Yeah.
So you're talking a guy who legitimately, with everything going right, but he had the talent, the skills, and all the abilities to go 50-100. And actually almost did it at the big league level. So as much as I think Elly De La Cruz's talent is, it's almost immune to hyperbole, I'm going to hold back until we say better than Eric Davis yet, or more talented than Eric Davis, because there are a lot of guys I know who will tell you Eric Davis was the most talented baseball player they've ever seen.
Yeah, there's some players, when you look at different stretches that they had, there was a 162 game stretch that Tony Gwynn hit well over 400. There was a 162 game stretch way back when Matt Williams, speaking of a former A's coach, now back with the Giants, hit over 61 home runs. He had a stretch. So it's when you look at those. By the way, mentioning the pitching, see, Trent, we've been keeping track of it here on A's Cast. What are we at now, Cody? Overall in Major League Baseball, we're at what?
Entering today, not including the games being played, we're at 801 pitchers used in baseball.
801, and former A, he's back. Rich Hill now with the Red Sox. I mean, we've been looking at Johnny Cueto. Our old Adam Aller is now. I mean, it is amazing. Pitching is a disaster. 801 pitchers have been used, and we're not even in September yet.
And the Reds just they're going to have another one at least on Friday with one of their top prospects and last year's first round pick, Rhett Lauder. Is going to start game 2 against the Brewers on Friday here. So it's going to be at least 802.
Well, last year was 863. That was the record, and I think we're going to fly by that because you're going to have September call-ups and you're going to have a lot of change. There's a lot of people, and you've been covering this game a long time. There's a lot of people who have opinions. I think the Greg Maddux special this past Sunday kind of reminded us, man, we missed the great matchups, and Randy Johnson's on there, and so is Glavine and Smoltz, and we're talking about the great pitchers of all time, and you bring up Nolan Ryan or a Tom Seaver, just the biggest names from Pedro to Bob Gibson to Koufax. Like, baseball pitchers were stars back in the day. Now, what do we have? 12 pitchers going yesterday's game. Like, what do you think? What should we do, or what should we try and do to make pitchers stars again?
Well, I mean, that's assuming that is a thing, because right now, what we want is more offense. You look at it, there are more of them, but they're more successful than ever right now. When you look at the actual output of what's happening. And a lot of that is because there are so many that they cycle through, and that batters don't get a chance to see guys multiple times. And that can be very difficult. So I think everything is working against the batter, and has been until the most recent rule changes, which have helped a little bit. But technology and all the rest has really helped the pitcher. So while we may not have those star pitchers, we're getting similar performance out of a group of pitchers.
It's going to be interesting. What I might be reading maybe too much into this, but all of a sudden baseball is floating out the rumors about making some changes. The network that they fund has a special on Maddux. I just kind of wonder if it's all working hand in hand together, and soon we're going to be hearing more and more about what potentially they could be thinking about, and maybe start implementing, like in a spring training or somewhere in the minor leagues, to try and get starters to go deeper.
Yeah, I think the only thing that makes sense to me is I believe Jason Stark coined it the double hook, where until the 6th inning, or like once the starter leaves, you lose the DH maybe, and that changes the game a little bit. That's the only thing I can really see that would work to make this, to re-emphasize the starter, because strategically right now it just doesn't make sense to have guys go through that third time in the order.
Kind of going around the league with you, especially in your guys' division, I was shocked by this. Of course, we always praise St. Louis as just an incredible baseball town. In your division, you've been going there for a long, long time. The crowds have always been amazing at all the different Busch stadiums. The crowd was so small last night, and it got sent to me. I mean, it's not a dog game either. Padres are one of the hottest, if not the hottest team in baseball. So it's not like the Marlins are in town or the White Sox are in town, or hell, even the A's are in town to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. This is the Padres team. Very exciting right now. You can get a ticket into this game today, Cardinals Padres, for $2.
Right. It's also like it is oppressively hot. And if they're not playing well, and I know, trust me, growing up, spending my summers in this area, I've been in some oppressively hot ballparks before. But it is bad, and if the team's not playing well, honestly, I don't like here last night. I don't blame anybody for not going. I'm sure the Cardinals will still tell you that they're the best fans of baseball, a phrase that they love to recite. So I'm sure they'll still tell you that and give you 100 reasons why they weren't there or tell you they were. But it is strange to see those amount of empty seats. But, you know, they're not playing well. They're coming off last year was a disaster for them. And this year hasn't gone much better. And so it's going to be tough. It's an interesting August or September in St. Louis.
Are you shocked by what's happened in Milwaukee, or should we just all buy in that this ecosystem, this culture that they've created, they can lose star players, they can lose their manager, and they just keep on rolling?
And their general manager, you know, don't forget that David Stearns left. It is impressive, and they've built this up. They also lost. I mean, we could say they lost their pitching coach. You know, at the very beginning of this, Derek Johnson was considered one of the best pitching coaches in baseball, if not the best, and he went to Cincinnati. And whatever they lose, they seem to just kind of keep rolling. And it's a great organization, and it wasn't limited to David Stearns. You know, the whole organization is pretty impressive. And it's almost like the A's for a while. It's like, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get what they're doing, but I'm sure they're right. You know, the old great trade for the Rays, who'd they get kind of thing. So yeah, it's they're in that. You know, the Guardians as well, staying in this state. There are certain teams that are in that have it built right now, where it seems like they have the Midas touch, and it's not magic. It is really having built a great organization.
So if I was an owner, and I know you've been in baseball and you've covered this game as good as anybody, and I'm an owner and I say, listen, I want that. I want what the A's had with Billy Beane. I want what they've done in Tampa. Tampa's had different managers. They've had different front office people. You mentioned the Guardians. My God, they bring in Stephen Vogt, our own Stephen Vogt out of nowhere. Speaking of A's-Rays trades that worked out, Billy Beane's always proud to say, I bought him for nothing, and he was a two-time All-Star. So, yeah, you look at that, whether Guardians, Brewers, Rays, A's Moneyball. If I was an owner and I came to you, how do I get that? How do I make that happen?
So that's a great question. If I would probably be able to own a major league team if I had the answer to that, I do not. You know, and I think what we have seen and what's all those examples we just cited show us that it's never just one person. It's not as simple as getting David Stearns. David Stearns is a phenomenal executive, and I think will do well with the Mets. But it's not just getting one person. We saw it with the Dodgers, you know. It is a whole lot of things, to be fair. And one of the most important things is for the owner to stay hands-off. I think that is something we've seen a lot, is don't get involved with things that, you know, your baseball people think are important.
It's really interesting. Because, yeah, if we could bottle it up and we could sell it, we'd all be making a lot of money. But, yeah, I mean, there's 30 teams, and everybody keeps saying, oh, the Dodgers are the model. Well, they've done a great job. And Andrew Friedman and what they've been able to do and buy players and bring players up. But not everybody has that ability to spend the money. People have to really be honest and say, I'd like to be like Cleveland or Milwaukee or like Tampa. But it's easier said than done.
Very much so. I mean, you guys have seen it firsthand.
Well, and we're kind of an anomaly, right? Because we'll win for 3-4 years, then kind of tear it down, and everybody gets mad, and then here we go again, 3-4 years. And what you're starting to see in front of you now is that this is like what we were in 2017, right? You started to see in the last 2 months, like, hey, the young guys can play a little bit, and farm systems never rank super high. There's always a lot of turnover, but David Force has learned from Billy Bean, and what you're starting to see in front of you today there is the next run. It's like it's starting to happen right in front of you. It's crazy. It's happening again.
It's kind of not to poke anything, but my dad is a Kansas City A's fan, just like Kansas City A's had going right before they left.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of people, when they think, 72, 73, they went to the playoffs in 71, but 72, 73, 71, and you're like, hey, listen, that all started Charlie Finley in Chicago with a rotary phone, started all that in Kansas City. A lot of people don't think about that. All those players, and even a guy like it didn't end up being around because he got traded for Ken Holtzman, was like Rick Monday was the first pick by Charlie Finley.
Yeah. And so it is, that's the beauty of this game is there's always something you can kind of go back to, like whether it's the A's future, looking at the Kansas City A's and those young teams, Reggie Jackson, all the rest, or Eric Davis to Ellie De La Cruz. It's why we love coming back and watching the game year after year, day after day.
Hey, we always love having you on. We appreciate it, and we will be buying you a beer or two at the winter meet. Is it in Dallas?
Dallas, yeah.
Dallas. We will see you in Dallas, my friend. Be well. You take care.
Great. Sounds great, guys. Thank you.
Pretty good stuff. A great rider. See, Trent?
I think it's Farron's turn to buy him beers. Farron's
always going to make me buy beers. I don't even drink anymore, and I got to buy the beers.
Well, you're the TV guy, so.
Sparkling water and coffee. I forgot my Celsius today. We're going to have to find me a Celsius.
I'm on like 2 weeks now without drinking Celsius. It was weird at first. A little jittery.
I'm not worried about you, Cody. I have to do 2 TV shows and join Jessica in the post game. By the way, you know who's just walked by and gave us a nice little wave? Good to see.
Yes, I did see.
He's on the wall. Actually, it'd be great to talk to him about.
Isn't he in Monument Park too?
I've never told him this, but Monument Park, Heritage Park.
Monument Park's in Yankee Stadium.
Heritage Park, his plaque is right next to Ray Fosse. And I did the interview with Ray. I wonder if I still have it. Where Fosse was in tears. How much it meant to him. I've never told him that story. But Duane Kuiper just walked by and gave us a nice little wave.
I think he's still. You might be able to find him.
I've never told Duane that. I've never told him that story. So we're in Cleveland, and Ray made it a big deal to go around and tell all the old Cleveland people, hey, this guy's Bob Elliott's grandson. Of course, my grandfather played in the 1948 World Series against Cleveland the last time they won, and he hit 2 home runs off Bob Feller. Look it up. So my grandfather had a monster series. So everybody in Cleveland, my grandfather was the Wheaties guy. He was an all-star. He had the most, RBIs in the 40s. He was a star back then. So all these old guys Fosse's bringing all these old guys up to me. And we're, oh yeah, it was my grandfather. It was really, really cool. And then Fosse goes, we got to go out to Heritage Park. And I went, I'm down. Right. So we walk out there and, you walk out there and there's the Bob Feller statue. It's like something I hope we have someday. And they go out and they celebrate all the great Indians, and we can call them Indians. It's okay to go if you play, like Duane Kuiper was an Indian. And if we were to have him on to talk about his career, we would talk about it as an Indian because he was never a Guardian. So that's the distinction they've made in Cleveland is no, if you're an Indian, we treat you as an Indian. Newer guys, you're Guardians. But we're not going to forget our history. And they have this wall that has all these plaques on it. And I went and did the interview with Ray Fosse from his plaque, and Duane Kuiper's right next to him. And it was very emotional. I was emotional. He was emotional. It was like a feeling, right? It was like we were having a moment, and I had a lot of moments with Ray. And that's why I get emotional when I talk about him, because it was like I never got to meet my grandfather, but it's like Ray kind of filled that in for me. The way he treated me. Ray always made me sit next to him on the bus. He always looked after me. Ray was a dear friend, but that moment that we had in Cleveland together when I was interviewing him at his plaque and he got emotional, because Ray didn't get emotional a lot, and it was emotional. and it was really, really cool. And seeing Duane Kuiper's cool because Duane Kuiper has had, I can't tell you the story Duane Kuiper told me on a golf cart. I was about to get married. It was Giants Fan Fest. And Duane Kuiper and I were in a golf cart being taken away from the stage. And he gave me some advice about marriage that was pretty funny that I cannot say on the air. I'll never forget that. But I've known Duane Kuiper for a long, long time. And you think about what a treasure he is and what a career. Another guy, think about like Max Schuemann. You know, Duane Kuiper was a grinder as a baseball player. One career home run.
Off of?
That'd be Steve Stone.
Correct.
Right?
There you go.
But you think about his career and what a big deal it was. There's a story behind him getting to 10 years. Somebody like the Giants, I think, kind of did him a solid to get him to 10 years, which at that time was the golden sombrero, right, for your retirement. Because he didn't know he was going to go on and have this illustrious broadcasting career and have more, Duane Kuiper's now made a lot of money and life's been great for Duane Kuiper. But at that point, being an infielder with no pop and, happy to have a job, he didn't know so it was a big deal for him to get to 10 years of service time. Because that's a nice pension for the rest of your life. So I remember that story. But what a career, Duane Kuiper. I don't know how it's going to work, but no question when it's all said and done, Duane Kuiper needs to be a Ford C. Frick Award winner.
Oh, no, I totally agree.
Because he's play-by-play.
I'm in the camp with everyone else who feels the same way that when you put him in, I think you just have to put him and Krukow in together.
But the thing is, Krukow's a color guy. Krukow's not play-by-play.
True. No, I totally. And I don't know how many analysts or color guys have been in the.
I don't know.
When you see mostly it's play-by-play guys.
I'm not an aficionado on the Ford C. Frick Award, but everybody I know who won the Ford C. Frick Award is a play-by-play guy, not a former player analyst.
Yeah.
So I get where Giants fandom they want to bring them together. But it's the same thing with like Ray Fosse. Ray Fosse was not he did play-by-play, and I loved Ray's play-by-play.
His Cespedes when he called Cespedes home run was great.
He was great at it, like Fosse, but Fosse liked to analyze the game. Fosse could have done on television, could have just done the game by himself.
I was talking
no question.
I was talking with one of my friends about this the other day. We were talking about like the best former players that turn into play-by-play guys. Like,
Duane
Kuiper's one. Yeah. Hawk Harrelson.
Oh, yeah.
Hawk's in the Hall of Fame. He's a Ford C. Frick Award winner.
Hawk Harrelson. And Hawk is the inventor of the batting glove. You ever heard that story?
No, I don't think I have.
So Hawk Harrelson, I don't know if it was at the Kansas City A's or whatever. He's playing golf and he showed up one day because he had blisters. So he showed up one day and used a golf glove. And when you play golf, most golfers just wear one glove. Pretty much all golfers. I'm a no glover. I'm like George Brett when I play golf. But he had a golf glove on. So he is known as the godfather of batting gloves, but it was Hawk Harrelson wore a golf glove. But yeah, Hawk Harrelson, Duane Kuiper, like now you got to think Jeff Brantley doing play-by-play on a full-time basis. I got our guy Steve Sparks,
yeah.
Doing play-by-play. Did Don Sutton ever do play-by-play?
Yeah, I think he was mainly an analyst. I'm trying to look and see.
I think Sutton did play-by-play.
Looking to see.
Scully
was a Ford C. Frick Award in 1982. I'm just going to see.
Garagiola.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's any former players on here. Marty Brenneman's on. Yeah, former player, but Marty Brenneman's on.
Brenneman.
Harry Callis. So there's a lot of good big names on here. Tim McCarver, former catcher, but he was an analyst mainly.
He did both.
Oh, I remember.
Tim McCarver's got to go down as former player turn play-by-play guy. He's got to go down.
There's not. If you're going through, unless we're missing guys that played in yesteryear. That.
When did Al Michaels play?
What decade? What team was he on?
Yeah, it actually is very rare that former players turn into actual calling the play-by-play.
Yeah, like you said, the two that come to mind for us is, who's another one? He does more analyst work now, but I think he did do play-by-play as Buck Martinez.
No, he's done both.
Yeah, so Buck is another one you can put in there.
But you want to talk about a baseball life. Buck Martinez, manager, Did he ever GM for them? I mean, it's like he's done every role you possibly can for the Blue Jays. He's a Blue Jays legend, former catcher.
He's from where's he from? Somewhere in North
Sacramento.
Sacramento, yeah. Was he ever?
That's why we have him on. Say we're bringing him back home. Now we'll really be bringing him back home.
It just says managerial career, and then I don't think he was a GM, but he definitely. I mean, obviously, I knew him being a manager.
Oh my God, he's had Buck Martinez has had an incredible career. Yeah, it's a very rare that you got a guy who played, who turns out to be a play-by-play guy. So that's when they say Kruk and Kuip going in together. It's like, I get you guys love Kruk and Kuip. I get that. But the color guy doesn't go in. It's the play-by-play guy. So that would be, and John Miller's already in.
Yeah. Miller won it years ago.
Yeah, I mean, John Miller's.
I do miss him and Joe Morgan calling games, though, on Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah, like Joe Morgan's not going in.
He's already in.
Well, yeah.
He's already in.
I actually have a plaque in the room that matters.
I don't need the Ford C. Frick. I have a plaque in the room of players.
Yeah, but John Miller was the voice of baseball for over 20 years. Every World Series, the big playoff games, Sunday Night Baseball. I mean, when you have that role, that's a really big deal.
See, now you got me going around.
And you think about John Miller. I mean, forget the Giant stuff. John Miller was the host of all the stuff for the Cal Ripken. When they were doing all the ceremonies and all of that. I mean, he just did the thing for Willie Mays, which was a big deal. But think about in way back when in the 90s, all the Cal Ripken stuff, he was the guy. And he's interviewing the president at the game, and before the game, he was in front of the country. I mean, when you were at the podium at Camden Yards and they were doing all the Ripken stuff, and that was John Miller, the whole country was watching. It was getting huge ratings on ESPN. Everybody was watching. It was bringing everybody back to baseball. That was John Miller, man. That was a big deal.
I mean, you're not going to hear me disagree. Like I said, I loved everything John Miller did.
And John Miller actually is one of the nicest guys. Like for a guy, some of these guys are horses' asses.
What they call it? What's his name? The Big Kuna? Is that his nickname?
I don't know. Some of these guys are real horses' asses. I mean, you got ego, right? Everybody's telling you how great you are every day. You're making big money as a play-by-play guy. Everybody tells you how great you are. You have this super big ego. John Miller is not that guy.
You know who I always
and you know who John Miller helped a lot was the one Ken Korak, who also at some point could be a Ford C. Frick Award winner.
Was up for the first time this year. The guy, I think the next guy to go in, because this year was Joe Castiglione from the Red Sox. I think next year, I think we can both agree it should be our good friend. We can say our good friend, and he is good friends with our good friend Hosey. That'd be Tom Hamilton.
Love him. I could listen to him every day.
We're listening on the way up here. He's great.
I mean,
his Guardians end up winning that game, by the way.
His career helped starting the Big Ten Network, which we now know how much money those networks produce for the college conferences and the schools, and then his work for the Guardians/Indians. Yeah, Tom has swung on and bounced. He's phenomenal. We are so lucky to get him on the show.
Yeah, he's great. I'm so glad the relationship we built with him, and we have good. I was explaining to some people, friends, my friends and friends in the industry, the relationships that we built with broadcasters, like throughout the sport, and not just in our own division, just throughout the sport that we've been able to bring on. It's pretty cool to be able to have those relationships.
Ken Korak's got a chance.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not like like in Bill King's case where they put Bill in after he passed. Like Ken has a good shot of getting in, within the next, X number of years.
Well, yeah, because the unfortunate thing with Bill is because he passed away because of the surgery. I mean, he would have lived years later and been able to enjoy it. And to think, as A's fans, that you've had such the excellence of broadcasting, because broadcasting with Bill King was the great Lon Simmons. And Lon Simmons, Ford C. Frick, and also his and the really cool thing, like when you read the book that Ken Korak did on Bill King, and you talk about how Lon Simmons and Bill King and going way, way back, and how Lon Simmons helped Bill King. The A's aren't even here yet. I mean, just to talk about their relationship and to think that they're both their careers. I mean, obviously Bill King with the Raiders, Lon Simmons with the Niners. Man, two guys that were in the same booth for the A's that just had historic careers. I mean, sit next to you is a big deal, I know, but it's just not Lon Simmons or Bill King.
Wasn't it back in the 70s? Weren't John Miller and the great Harry Carey A's broadcasters too?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean,
John Miller did like a year.
Yeah, I think they each did like a year. I mean, that was so great watching the Greg Maddux doc and hearing Harry Carey doing when he was doing Cubs games back in the in the 80s. And one of the guys they showed.
I grew up watching like when we first got cable as a kid. One of the only stations you could get was WGN and TBS. So you got to watch Cubs and Braves games, and Gilligan's Island and the Munsters, and they had all the old reruns of all the sitcoms.
Back in the 80s, this is just for you to see, but back in the 80s, Cubs games, there's our good friend Duane Stats. This is on the Maddux documentary, calling games with Steve Stone.
Duane Stats with that, because I've only known
I mean, he's always had a full head of hair, but this is not. I mean,
gray hair. I've only known Duane Stats with gray hair
and a gray mustache. So
I mean, it's sad he doesn't travel, but Duane Stats with the Yankees, he's had an unbelievable career. We're just talking play-by-play guys. We're not even talking baseball right now.
That's baseball. It's not like we're talking NFL play-by-play.
You're gonna go Vince Cotroneo on me? It's a talking sport.
I never heard him say that, but
you've never heard him say
that?
No,
but
it's a talking sport.
It's not like we're sitting here talking about hockey play-by-play guys. Shout out Dan Rusanowski, Hockey Hall of Famer.
Scar! He's a Hockey Hall of Famer?
Won it last year.
Play-by-play guys going to the actual Hockey Hall of Fame?
He got the broadcasting, part of it. I forgot.
Because I'm about to say, if I'm going by Gordie Howe's, what do they have at the Hockey Hall of Fame? Bust or plaques?
I think they're plaques. Ruse put a video. NBC actually did a video for Ruse at the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto, and now I'm can't remember what it looks like. Like we can figure that out. That's for down the line. Do you want to get to T-Long?
Yes, but I was just thinking of some. God, you got me. Yeah. So what is it at the Hockey Hall of Fame?
I haven't got to look now. I'll have to look.
So my running joke, I'm gonna walk right past that plaque.
Oh.
If you put Dan Rusanowski's plaque next to Gordie Howe, I'm telling you, I'm not gonna see Ruzies.
They look like plaques.
I'm just telling you. If you're telling me you're putting Ruzi next to Gordie Howe and Gretzky, I'm not seeing Ruzies.
Wow, that's just.
I'm just saying.
I'll make sure I'll clip this and send it to him. Yeah, because here's a picture of him.
Don't put his plaque next to Martin Brodeur.
Oh, what did he ever win with the Devils? There was a picture of where'd it go? Yeah, it looks like it's a plaque. Yeah, because.
So we technically don't have any Sharks in the Hall of Fame yet, right?
No, the first. I mean, Jeremy Roenick is in, but he only played like 2 years.
No, Shark.
So if you don't,
Jeremy Roenick to me will be a Blackhawk.
If you don't count Doug Wilson or Dan Rusanowski,
why Doug? That's for his playing days. He played at the end. No.
I know.
No.
If you're looking at players, there are no true Sharks players in the Hall of Fame. Correct. Marlowe could be the first one.
What about Jumbo?
Marlowe will probably get in first. But yes,
did they retire at the same?
Well, no, Jumbo's this year. They're doing it sometime in November of this year.
Jumbo hasn't retired.
No, he's retired. They're retiring his sweater.
No.
Yeah.
When do you're retired? When you retire, it sets your clock for the Hall of Fame.
I don't know how many years.
Jumbo retired before Marlowe.
Did he? I thought Jumbo ended up playing longer.
Look it up, because Jumbo will go in as a Shark, as much as you probably want to say he's a Bruin.
I remember as a Florida Panther, and Marlowe will always be a Penguin to me. Thornton's last year was 21-22. Patrick Marlowe was
Sharks hockey here on Ace Cast.
Don't say we don't talk Sharks. It's the most Sharks content you'll get in the Bay Area.
Fact.
Marlowe retired a year prior, so Thornton played one more year.
All right, so Marlowe will go in, not as a Leaf.
No, not as a Penguin.
So he'll go in. Patrick Marlowe will be the first Shark.
Yes.
Where's Owen Nolan? He's not going in?
I don't think so. Good player, though.
What about Urbe?
Hall of really good Sharks.
What about Link Gates? Great goon of all time. Great Shark.
Pretty sure Dallaire brought his name up to me before, too.
Oh, Link Gates. I mean, it's a tragic story, but he's always fun to talk about. My favorite, and I won a pool tournament and drank a lot of beer with him twice. My good friend, can I call him my good friend? Marty McSorley.
It's a good one.
Great Shark.
Yeah, there's. I saw Dan Boyle at a bar once in Los Gatos.
Trapped, huh?
I saw Dan Boyle at a bar in Los Gatos once.
I'll give you another one. I had drinks one time at CB Hannigan's for all you people, South Bay people, Los Gatos. CB Hannigan's, me and Mike Vernon.
Oh wow, okay.
And more people recognize me than they recognize Mike Vernon as we were sitting at the bar, if you can believe it.
You're pretty big. You're a TV guy. You're a big deal.
I'm just saying, this was years ago.
How long ago? This was the SaberCats? Because you would have been on television a lot.
That would have been SaberCats. I would have probably been, was I Canby? When was Vernon here? When was Mike Vernon here? Great Red Wing Stanley Cup champion with the Red Wings, right?
Yeah, Vernon was a Shark in the whole 1 year, couple years, but 97 through 2000, he was here.
Yeah, so I'm at KBR at the time.
You're young in your career.
Yeah, so we're at the bar. My buddy was the manager, and me and Mike Vernon, little guy. And I'm not Wilt Chamberlain myself. He's a little, how tall is he? Don't say he's as tall as I am, because there's no way.
5'9".
Yes, that's a lie. I'm 5'9". No way. He's like 5'8", maybe.
Maybe that's 5'9" skates on.
And man, we threw back a bazillion beers together. We were just talking. Great guy. Mike Vernon. How many cups did he win?
Vernon won 2 times.
Both with the Red Wings?
I would assume so. Yes. Yeah, both with the Red Wings. Because Calgary never won.
How long did he play in Calgary? Wow.
He was a Flame for 13 years.
Whew.
Don't forget another great Florida Panther.
That's a lot of years playing in Calgary in the winter.
Yeah.
That's a long
I mean, it's
time.
beautiful up there this time of year.
All right, coming up next, what do we got?
Terrence Long.
Coming up next, he's a fan favorite. Alumni Sunday has been a huge hit. The next Alumni Sunday, can we announce it?
Yeah.
One of my all-time favorites. I know he's not going to go down as a Hall of Famer. I know he swapped teams back and forth, and he was an A Ranger, it seemed like every other week. But if you followed me and this guy, you know how much I love him. He is literally one of the greatest human beings I've ever met. And I'm just not saying that. I mean, he is really a great person. Adam Rosales, Rosie, is going to be Alumni Sunday.
Rosie will be there. Eric Burns will be there.
Burnsy.
And Dallas Braden.
How are we going to corral him for the interview?
Yeah, well, that's a good thing it's not our job.
Dallas Braden. Didn't we have him last? Oh, no, it was Bobby Crosby last time.
Crosby was out on the field. Yeah, he wasn't able to sign autographs because he was busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bobby Crosby was part of it too. The last one with Terrence Long and
that's a big league class right there. Burnsy, Braden, and Rosie.
Yeah.
I like it. Coming up next, Terrence Long right here on A's Cast Live.
If you haven't been to the Chicken Pie Shop in Walnut Creek, what are you waiting for? You're going to love the new menu, and it's a great place to watch all the pennant race action and the upcoming NFL and college football seasons. Come taste their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next corporate party or birthday celebration. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com. This is Commander Cody, and fall is upon us, and Linksole has dropped their new fall line. New pants fit for a more custom experience with elevated layers and performance polos to help transition from season to season, no matter if you're wearing them out on the golf course, out to dinner, or just hanging out with friends. Some effortless looks to help you find the right look and feel for any occasion. Go to their website, linksole.com. That's linksole.com, and find out how you can unlock 20% off your next order. Remember, in the big leagues, to play good, you got to look good.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Hi, fans. This season, Kingsford Capital Management is the official hedge fund sponsor of the Oakland A's. At Kingsford, down to business is their way of seeing the world. Investing has its pitfalls, treacherous chasms of half-truth and despair. Kingsford's mission is to create opportunity through application of proven innovation and entrepreneurial focus with trust, tenacity, loyalty, and growth, establishing a strong reputation as a proven intendant and validated bedrock of American finance. Kingsford Capital, down to business.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, step up to the plate with Xfinity Internet. Get the fastest speeds and low-lag streaming for an incredible viewing experience that knocks it out of the park. And you'll have a consistent connection with reduced buffering and freezing, so you can stay in all the action inning after inning. When it's game time, make sure to catch it all with internet that's powerful and reliable. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity, because it's only live once. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Many factors affect speed. For factors affecting speed, visit xfinity.com/network management.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
With more sunshine returning, it's time to get outside and make the most of what Cinnabar Hills Golf Club has to offer. Like 27 championship caliber holes tucked in the beautiful hills of San Jose. And take advantage of their amazing Bay Area views for your next special event. It's all for you at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club, an award-winning venue designed to peacefully take you away from the bustle of Silicon Valley. Go to CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
Being a Chevron car these days has been quite the adventure. Miami to Seattle, ocean to ocean. I've stopped at so many states and collected so many bumper stickers. Sometimes I feel like a moving passport book. It's just so great what I can do with Chevron with Techron, because it gives me unbeatable mileage and keeps my engine clean. Plus, there are so many Chevrons along the way. Now the only thing I'm worried about is where to go next and where to put all my new bumper stickers. Chevron with Techron, fueled by possibility.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
And the underdogs, Oakland Athletics, win their first championship since they were in Philadelphia in 1930.
Hi, I'm Raleigh Fingers, Hall of Famer, 3-time World Series champion with the Oakland A's and World Series MVP. Winning takes teamwork, skill, and heart. So when you need an ace for a personal injury lawyer that will win you the game, go with the winning team. Call Venardi Zerata at 833-VZ-FOR-ME or go to vzlawfirm.com. Venardi Serrata, the official injury law firm of the Oakland A's.
Streaming from the studio, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Great to have back here at the Coliseum, Terrence Long. It's great to have you back here on A's Cast Live. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing really good.
What's it mean to be back when you walked back into the Coliseum today?
Man, it's just memories. You know, I saw Matt and Cliffy. You know, they were assistants to Voos, and they were little boys when I was here.
Yeah.
Man, now they're grown men with kids of their own, and it's just somewhat overwhelming, man, to come back and just still see some of the people here. Man, it's a really good feeling.
And I think about for you, this is where it really all started. Obviously, you were a high pick by the Mets, and then you get traded here.
Yes.
And this is where you got to be T. Long,
Yes.
right? And all of a sudden, you're roaming center field. You're playing in the playoffs. I mean, this is where your career really took off.
Yeah, this was, you know, when you're younger, you get traded, like you don't know, like you was like, the first thing you think, maybe I wasn't good enough. But then you find out teams trade for you because they like you. So, and I still tell everybody to this day, man, like this organization, it changed my life. You know, it gave me an opportunity to do a lot of things in life and gave me the one opportunity that I wanted, a chance to play every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
And I mean, and to come out west, what was it like for you to come out west?
A little different, man. Like, you know, I'm from the South, man.
Yeah.
So it was a little different. Love the weather. So I was like, okay, well, I can deal with that. But just, you know, I was so excited. Like, it really didn't matter. Like, people was like, man, that's Oakland. I was like, well, Oakland it is. And it's crazy because growing up in Alabama, we had the Braves.
Yeah.
But my mom told me, like I used to say as a kid, that I wanted to wear white shoes when I played. And ended up wearing white shoes when I played in the big league. So that was crazy. She would tell me that story, and she was like, "Yeah, you used to tell me all the time that you wanted to wear white shoes when you played for some reason." Ended up in Oakland.
And when you get here, it's nothing but success. You knew nothing but winning.
Yes, and when I first got here, I think '99 was the year they were close. They had a good season.
Yeah.
'99.
It was starting.
It was starting. So 2000, I started out in AAA, and got called up May, I think, and we just took off from there. Great feeling, man. Really excited. Was part of a really good team with some really good players.
And you're playing center field, and you got Hudson Mulder Zito, and you got just take us through what that was like. That you're now on a team, and you're going to be in the postseason, and just some legendary times.
Man, it was just knowing that. No disrespect to all our pitchers. I mean, they were good. Just when you on the team and you got a 3-game stretch where it's a 95% chance in your mind that you're going to win that game. And that's a good problem to have. So that made, with those guys there, man, made my job easier. I think it made a lot of people's jobs easier. Those guys were unbelievable, man. Like, they were really, really good. All 3 of them, man. I still brag about it to this day. Yeah, they were really good.
And you come into a clubhouse where you can be you.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that was the case in New York.
No. Yeah, it was different because it was, you go to that clubhouse, you're in the clubhouse, you got Hundley, that's how I first met Ricky. Ricky was there with the Mets when I was in spring training. I was, so it was like that type of clubhouse, a lot of veteran guys. And, I got called up a couple times, got a chance to go to the big leagues with him. Small stretch, but once I got here, I was like, okay, this is more for me. Like I can just show up and play. Like over there, I was nervous. I'll be honest. I tell everybody that, taking the field with those guys, Piazza, it's just Bonilla, Hundley. It was just a different group.
Star-studded veteran group,
yeah. I was kind of honestly, and didn't want to say that, but I was starstruck every single day over there.
But you come here, great players. Right? You're going to play with Tejada's an MVP, Giambi's an MVP, Zito's a Cy Young, a lot of war. But it's like a total different vibe.
Yeah. It came to when you say clubhouse, it comes to to me, like a high school team. Like everybody's just around the same age. You got those 1 or 2 upperclassmen, but everybody was the same age. And man, just coming in and Jason being Jason is what allowed me to relax. And Jason was just like, man, just play. That's it, just play. And coming from G, because when I first got here, I was like, man, that's the dude right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the dude. And he was like, man, just relax, just play. And I was like, okay, good. That was perfect for me because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect. I got a chance to meet Xavi and Olmedo when they was rehabbing in Vancouver. So I got a chance to meet them early. But those were really only 2 guys I got a chance to meet before I got here. And then Jeff Tam and Isringhausen, all of us were in the Mets organization together. So I already knew those guys.
Yeah.
So spring training was a little bit easier. And I just tried to ease my way in, man, and just waiting on my chance. That's all it was.
It's great bringing up all these names. It's classic. I asked Jermaine Dye this, and whenever we've had somebody from this era, I know you didn't go as far as you wanted to go in the postseason, but man, legendary battles with some great teams and some great players.
Yes, the battles, man, and you still hear about it to this day. But our chances were there, man. Like, I don't know. It's just one mistake here, one mistake there, but that showed me we were just as talented as any of them, man. It was just the experience that got them over the hump. The Red Sox, the Yankees, you make a couple mistakes here and there, it's going to cost you against those guys. But it's legendary, man. It was these teams.
Great players, Hall of Famers, All-Stars. I mean, they were just, great teams. It was such a good era of baseball.
Yes, it was competitive, very competitive, and just knowing the team that we had and where we were from is just, I think it was great for baseball at that time because you got these teams that's way up here, then you got these boys from Oakland, $30-40 million payroll, but they're just as good as anybody in the league. So yeah, we took pride with that. Like we honestly thought that we had the best team that year, 2001. Like we honestly thought we had the best team. I thought we did.
Yeah, he won 102 games that year. Yeah,
and that it's crazy because one play seemed like it changed everything.
The playoffs, anything can happen. What's going on now with you? What do you got going on now?
Man, just into, like I say, into the travel ball and just training kids. Just getting to understand the game, and it's so different now because travel ball scene is so big. It's a lot of false hope being fed to some of these kids, man. And I'm not the one for it. I think the worst thing you can do for these kids is feed them false hope in this game, because either you let them know now how hard it is to even go play college ball now. It's just either you let them know now or you don't want to wait till they're in college and they get there and their coach tell them that you're just not good enough. You don't want that. You got to prepare them mentally for what's going to happen if you decide to play this game. So that's the more of what I'm doing now, more of teaching. The playing part, if you can play, you can play. But understanding what comes along with it now, with the transfer portal, it's just so much stuff.
I'm so glad you bring that up because it's just not baseball.
Nah.
It's football. It's basketball. There's a tremendous amount of false hope out there.
Yes, tremendously. And then, a lot of kids are getting hope now because of the new NCAA rules. They give them 33 full scholarships. And I tell the kids, okay, you got 33 full scholarships, but it's up to the college on how they want to use them 33. I was like, they're going to wait for the transfer portal. They got these kids that's going to leave this school. I was like, man, it's screwed up for another 2 or 3 years. You got kids in college that's 23, 24 years old.
Some of the ages, God, you've heard of some of the ages. Like, how long are you going to be in college?
Yeah. So
I'd go back to college, but seriously, it's so hard to think about, like, our generation of when you're in high school and you start getting recruited. I played college baseball, and it's like, I can't even imagine what it's like now, because as you said, these coaches are all waiting on transfers and these kids in the portal and everything. And you're a high school kid trying to find your next step.
Yes. Yeah. And unless you're just that guy, it's going to be tough. And honestly, where I'm from, junior college baseball is just as tough, just as competitive as D1. Like, there's some junior colleges down there that I've seen that could play with any D1 school. So it's the competition level now with so many kids that 1 year COVID pushed kids back 2 or 3 years. It's just, they're not only the red shirt guys, the guys that got hurt and they taking that extra year of eligibility. So that gives them 2 more years. So it's tough out there for them, man. It's tough for those kids. You gotta be that dude for real.
Well, and of course, you being in the South, no one wants to play football in the South.
Man, it's crazy because, I tell everybody, like, I know some really good baseball players. And as soon as Nick Saban would come around, no more baseball. But that's how it is, man. If you're big, fast in the South, it's a 95% chance as a high school kid that you're gonna play football.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just they're just like they just float to that state, man. Football, I'm talking about from all around the country. You go to these 7-on-7s, you'll have one side for the fans and then the other side will be for D1 coaches. It's unbelievable. It's fun. You know what I mean? It's exciting. And I'm not a football guy. My son plays football, but I'm not a football guy, but it's so exciting to see, man. You just got 50 and 60 D1 coaches just over there, and they're just like they just got their napkin on just at the dinner table. But it's fun, man. It's fun. I enjoy it for the kids. You know, anything to get them into college, whatever sport they choose, I mean, it's fine with me.
Or like your son just being an engineering student, which is going to be
one.
really.
Yes, he is the smartest one out of all of us.
Yeah,
he is me and his brothers. I tell them all the time, son. They ask, Dad, who's your favorite? I was like, he's my favorite because he's way smarter than all of us. He don't have to worry about. Well, when I was playing, he don't have to worry about facing Pedro or Roger the next day. He can just go to school, be an engineer, and don't have to worry about, I'm 0 for 30 and I got to do this, do that. So, yeah, he's always been that way, man. No sports. He don't want to watch it. He don't want to go to games. He just likes to study. That's it.
And that's you love that kid. Let's end on this.
Yeah.
Alumni Sunday. It's been a lot of fun. You're going to have a lot of long lines, a lot of fans, of course. I mean, when you were here, it was all about success and winning. It's going to be a lot of fun. I want you to enjoy it because your career here in Oakland was really, really good. You are really a productive player.
Yeah.
Go enjoy the love from all the fans today.
Yeah, I am, man. And it's going to be. I'm not going to tear up, but I got that feeling inside, man, because they were. When I was good and when I was bad, man, they always, whenever I stepped on that field, had the drums, had the T-Long chant. That's, and I appreciate all of it.
T-Long right here on A's Cast Live. T-Long, fabulous. Always great to have him on. Alumni Sunday. Our next guest did not play for the Athletics.
No.
But she's bigger than that. Laura Britt's with us. How are you?
I'm good. I wore my green for you guys today.
I think the last time you were on this show was probably, was it the winter meetings?
Was that the last time?
It was the winter meetings.
That's sad. That's sad. You avoid me?
No, you're hard to book. Your people,
very.
Going through your people.
You know how hard it was? A text. And then I said, yeah, I'll do it. That's how hard it was.
So I have to tell everybody, it's a Sunday morning in my house. And it's like funny. It's like once Olympics starts, everybody gets way into it because the Olympics is the best.
Same.
Me
too.
And it's Sunday morning. And all of a sudden you pop onto the screen. And I go, hey, to my kids, and my girls are 18, and they go, she's beautiful.
Oh,
you got love from the twins. And
a lot of help.
What a big deal. That was incredible.
Yeah, makeup team is really great. Props to them.
A little bit better than NBC.
I'm my makeup team here.
I have to do
you
mine.
too. Yeah. Sometimes I can help you out with that. Just after this.
I'm not great at it.
I'll get the brush and we'll make it happen. I do that for some guys. They're like, hey, can you help me out a little bit? I got a zit right here. I won't name names.
Sean Estes.
No,
go ahead.
It wasn't Sean Estes. It was really fun. It was. I get asked a lot about it now that I've been back. And I was actually talking with a producer. I'm going to be doing the Boise State-Oregon game on Peacock next week. I'm not usually in the college football realm, so I'm excited to kind of dive back into that. But I was talking with the producer.
You're doing the play-by-play for the game?
Not play-by-play. I'm doing sideline.
Okay.
Sideline for the game.
Well, you're used to being on the sidelines of college games.
Yeah, right, from cheerleading. Anyway, I was talking with him. He works out of Stanford. He said, yeah, when it's not the Olympics, there aren't that many people. There are 3,000 of us that are on campus, maybe 2,500 that are on campus in Stanford to do the Olympics. And it was really cool to be a part of. I'm not going to lie. Just honestly, that same feeling that everybody had around the Olympics, getting to bring that to people is very much at the forefront of what everybody's thinking about in Stanford. And it was cool. It was really fun. And all hours people work from, get on shuttles at 1:30 a.m., 5:30 p.m., 2:30 in the afternoon, 6:30, just all the time, all day, every day, 3 weeks straight, no breaks, all gas. So fun.
Now, that was your first?
That was my first time doing it.
Okay, that's why I want to say this, and I talked to Carlos about this. I was so happy for you.
Thank you.
Because I know as a broadcaster, like, it's cool to do, Super Bowl or the World Series or the U.S. Open or something like. It's the Olympics. It's like a whole different deal, and you were national, and I was happy. I was proud.
Thank you.
It was such, and that's why I wanted to have you on today to say congratulations. It's a big effing deal.
It felt that way to me, and it's certainly not about me, and the Olympics are about everybody, and I think that's why it is such a big deal. It's not one specific team. It's not one specific area. It's not one specific country. It's the world. And then the United States, so few things unite us as a country. And it felt awesome for 3 weeks for everybody to kind of be pulling the same string and tugging on the same end of the rope. It was a special thing to be a part of. And it was definitely a milestone moment for me. But I just try and do the best job I can to bring everybody whatever I'm covering, which was all kinds of stuff. If you know Ray Gunn, who's now famous for breaking, that was on our air.
Did you do that?
I did that.
Wow.
That was on our air.
Will never be forgotten.
I was just as stunned as all of you were when I was watching it. And I think I was crying. I was laughing so hard at that moment.
What was it like when your kids got to see you?
My kids, I don't know that they know the difference yet between that and just watching me, which they don't. Let's be clear. They don't watch me very often.
They're not really big on Giants Brewers tonight?
Well, I think it's like, oh yeah, mommy, cool. My husband will turn it on. Look, mommy's on TV.
It's the Olympics.
Can we watch Bluey?
Yeah.
Can we watch something else? They're still very much in that age. Now, some of my older son's friends think it's cool.
Yeah.
And so I think he's getting a little bit more into it, but the twins don't care. They want to watch Bluey.
How about if we go back to the South where all the family is? What were the texts like when all of a sudden they start seeing it and the small town girl makes big?
That was special because my friends and honestly my parents don't ever get to watch me. My dad will find the stuff like clips of what we're doing on YouTube to be able to watch. That's really the only way he can watch me. So every single night my parents are tuning in and all day, it was fun. And then my friends back home that never got to see and their kids, and that part of it was very special and unique for me because I've been at regional networks or digital like 120 Sports, now Stadium, where it was all it's different when you can flip on a channel on your TV and see somebody that so that was really fun. That was a fun aspect.
And what we don't really understand, as you said, the amount of people, because you're not even in Paris. You think about what Paris is. And I know Carlos Ramirez was down at
he's in Miami.
He's in Miami at the Telemundo. I mean, the amount of people that it takes. Our own Michael Baird, who's our engineer, he does all the Olympics. He's been doing it for years. He's been to all the Summer Olympic Games for the last X amount, 20-something years. And he's always explained what the Olympic Village is and what it is. So to think that you're not even there, and to think how big your guys' compound was and what it takes for NBC to put it all on.
Well, I think the majority of what you see on TV comes out of Stanford.
Yeah.
So we kind of call it the hub. That's like the mothership of all of the Olympics. And then obviously the location that it's at, they have sets and tons of crew and people there. But the majority of the people are in Stanford trying to put on the Olympics because they've got studios and the infrastructure and control rooms. And as you might imagine, it's just, it's thousands and thousands.
Because you have
of people.
every country doing this. So you just can't fit everybody in Paris, right?
Right.
The world is broadcast.
There are 7 studios at the NBC Sports headquarters, like lining this back wall of this huge, building that NBC Sports is based out of. And 2 of the studios are dedicated to people calling the sports, different, whatever sport it is, the games, the sports, the matches, whatever. there are tiny booths, and they are kind of small. I got to peek inside some of them. So most of the people calling sports are not in Paris or at the location of the Olympics. I think we try and make that clear, just as NBC being honest about where everybody is. But they're calling it Jim Cosmore. He's calling he's calling badminton from Stanford. I was on shuttles with Jim. Now, Coase had a crazy schedule. He was, on buses at 1:30. When I got on the shuttle bus to go over to the headquarters, it was 7:30 in the morning. That was his second time being on the bus that day. It's like, oh, yikes. But they have booths, so it's just tons. I don't know, hundreds, maybe tens of 75. I don't know how many there were. There were a lot of booths that were 2 full studios of just booths of people calling play-by-play in color for the different sports.
What's so fascinating about that is that you're in a different country. You're in the small little cubicle-like booth.
Yes.
But yet you need to project that I care so much about the diving here. It's like, we're lucky that we go to, I'm at every home game, so I don't have to manufacture. I'm excited because I'm out. I'm looking at the players. I'm looking at, I don't have to, you really have to
But I think
up.
that the excitement around the Olympics is not manufactured, and people's excitement to be there. It's the biggest opportunity of most people's career.
No doubt. Yeah.
To be there and calling it. So that excitement is there without falsifying it. But yeah, I imagine it's really tricky. I've never had to try and call a game that you're not at.
No, you're the headliner. You're like, welcome to the Olympic Games. You're not in a cubicle. You're on the set.
I had a nice set. I did like my set. The set was amazing.
Welcome
to
Paris,
beautiful.
everybody.
And I don't know, the graphics. This is not just to praise NBC, but I thought NBC did do the graphics. Every time I was tossing out to a break, coming back from a break, I was amazed. I just thought the whole. I never wanted to go to Paris, to be honest. I'm not like a super tourist attraction type of person. I want to go to Paris now after seeing it. That the graphics packages were all great. Our shots of the city, which how can you not do a great job bringing that? Mike Tirico is unreal at what he does. Ahmed Fareed was carrying coverage throughout the day. I just thought it was really well done. And that's not just because I was a part of it.
No, NBC for years.
I try and step back and say, okay, as a viewer, what do I think of this? And I couldn't think of something that could be done better as far as visual aspects of what the Olympics were this year. It was really cool. It was fun.
Well, all those years, you think of Bob Costas, and now Tirico does a great job filling in, but it was Costas, then Michaels would come in. The best of the best have always done that, and you being in that group is.
Well, I was
says
not.
A lot.
Mike Tirico's way up here. I'm like down here on I'm on the totem pole down here.
They all started somewhere, and each Olympics you start going up. So
I can only.
This
hope.
is huge. What is it like then to go from such the magnitude to, hey, Giants Brewers? There is a difference when you come back.
Yeah, there is. I think the excitement still is here because I was gone for 3 weeks. So, I missed seeing everybody here. It was kind of weird to be.
You didn't miss much.
To be away. Actually, the Giants improved while I was away. So they were maybe 3 or 4 games under 500 before I left. And when I got back, they were at 500, a game above 500, right? Or, a little bit better. So that part of it is, this is something that I'm used to doing. I cover the Giants day in and day out, as you know. We have massive research teams for the Olympics that help us, get all of the information for these, hundreds of sports that we're bringing to everybody. So to come back to something that I know really well in and out and can speak fluidly on is
to this stuff that we get. Hey, welcome. A's and Giants baseball right here.
You know who my researcher is here?
Yeah.
It's my producer. He's producing the show and he's a researcher. There, you've got a researcher on hand. So if I had a question come up and I was about to go on, hey, how many gold medals has so-and-so won, or has this country won, or whatever the question was, who are the top qualifiers for canoe slalom? Fine. I would have an answer in 15 seconds. Yeah. It was unreal.
Cody?
Let's go, Cody.
What do you got? Canoe slalom. What do you got?
Top,
nothing.
Top
See, we got nothing. We got nothing. From a Giant standpoint, we just had our very emotional. Were you back yet
for the
for the last Bay Bridge?
No. Yes. That was when? Two weeks ago.
Last weekend.
Yes, I was
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So it was a pretty emotional, right? For a lot of us have done it for many, many years. The last time we're ever going to see Oakland play San Francisco, we understand that. You know, I had to do that with the Raiders. We knew that the Raiders would no longer play the San Francisco 49ers now, the reality. So it was very emotional. We got to see Bob Melvin. We got to see all of our friends over there. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, you know, at the end of the day, they're in fourth place, right? I mean, the Dodgers still have a stranglehold, not as much, but Padres have been red hot. Arizona has been red hot. So what is the feeling around Giants land where you still want to, hey, we got a great rotation. Robbie Ray goes down. The other teams are soaring, and the Giants are just hanging in here at fourth place when there's been a lot of expectations since they won 107 games, and they haven't lived up to those expectations. So what's the feeling around the Giants right now?
Well, there have obviously been changes since all that happened and since some of those expectations haven't been met. I don't think there's anything to hide. You know, baseball fans especially are stats people, and they know the numbers. There's no sense in getting on camera and trying to falsify something or pretend that it's not the facts are the facts. The Giants are 5.5 games behind the Braves. Is it doable mathematically to make up that ground? Sure. They're not mathematically out of it for the third wild card spot in the National League. It's going to be really tough. The Giants have the toughest strength of schedule for the remainder of the season. Out of all 30 teams, the Giants have the toughest schedule. Sure, you can look at that and say, okay, well, we can get in our head about that. I'm talking about the players right now. I don't think they're doing that. I think they're trying to approach every game, but they keep taking hits. You mentioned Robbie Ray. You mentioned Jordan Hicks. It was all focused on it being the starting rotation was a lot of the focus for the first half of the season. So many of our shows, what we talked about was after the All-Star break, this is what the rotation is going to look like. After the All-Star break, you're going to have Alex Cobb. Well, that's not a factor anymore. He was traded. You're going to have Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray has been very good, had one really, really bad start, but has been good, but has been riding a roller coaster. He's coming back from Tommy John surgery. And then you knew Jordan Hicks something was going to happen there because then you had too much of a stacked rotation. Now all of that is kind of up in the air. You got two key pieces of it on the IL, on the 15-day IL, and there are 30 games left in the season. I think the cards are starting to stack on the other side of the scale as opposed to the side that you'd like to see for the Giants to get in the wild card. That's just the reality of it. It's not to say that they can't do it. I think the offense has been troubling. Last night, they won the game by a run. They went 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. The Giants, one of the worst records as far as run averages, I guess is the best way to phrase that, with runners in scoring position. You can't win a lot of games, and that's deflating as a team too, when you have guys on second and third and you can't bring them home, not once, not twice, consistently throughout the season. I think those numbers have tailed off even worse since the All-Star break. So what do you have then if your rotation was your strength, and then you have, you know, Logan Webb, who last night had one of his shorter outings with 5 innings, but you go back against the White Sox, I think he threw 8 innings, allowed 2 earned runs, and then the Giants lose that game. That's frustrating I'm sure for Logan Webb, which he would never admit that. He always stands up for his teammates. But as a fan base watching, I'm sure fans are very frustrated. I'm sure the team's frustrated. Everybody's probably frustrated. And you try and drop that. You try and turn the page. But when it's happening every night, I don't know. You got to be mentally really tough to be able to go battle that every night.
Now, throughout the year, all the wins and losses mean the same, but at this time of the year, when you're chasing so many teams, every loss is like, it just feels that. All right, Peacock, you're going to be doing sidelines for which game?
Yes, Boise State, Oregon.
That's a good size game right there.
I know. I'm very excited about it. I've never been to Eugene, so if anybody has any
you're going to love Autzen Stadium.
I've heard it's amazing. I can't wait. I mean, you know, I'm in SEC land growing up in Alabama, and so I've been to a lot of SEC towns and stadiums.
Then you're going to look at us and go, this is it?
No, I'm excited. I've never experienced that environment.
Is it going to
be transported there?
Is it going to be weird being at Autzen Stadium on the West Coast in Oregon saying, welcome to Big Ten football?
Yes, that is going to be weird. You just look at the conference and you're like, Wait a second.
It just does not look right.
Honestly, it's hard to keep up with who's in what conference now because it's just.
Yeah, and you're
it's
going
all
to
over
have
the
your
place.
cheat sheet. The nil money, this guy's now making this, and he transferred from it. Because, like, when you watch these games now, and even we saw it in the first one, Florida State, Georgia Tech, it's like, oh, yeah, last year he had 9 touchdowns for 800 yards for another school. Like, everybody's transferred.
Yeah.
It's like you
that
can't keep
part of
track.
it makes college football a lot more. It was already difficult to keep up with just with
Yeah.
so many pro teams being here. And then now you really have to pay attention because, guys are flying all over, playing at different schools every year.
Well, it's your Southerners' fault that we're in this. You guys
Don't blame us.
Yeah, it's so
Don't
competitive. You
blame
got to win the
us.
national championship every year.
Don't blame us. Not our fault. Not UAB's fault, certainly.
The great UAB.
That's right.
Hey, great to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations.
Thank
That
you.
was awesome. I texted her right away. I could tell you. I was like, I know you're busy. I probably shouldn't have texted you. I'm like, you look great. It's awesome.
My phone was out of the studio.
I mean,
I
that's
didn't have
big
it, yeah.
league, big league.
It was fun. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. That's always fun.
Good luck the rest of the season, and we'll talk.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get in touch with my people who are getting in touch with
the
the other
fact
people.
that I
and-
got to go through Tarico just to get your number. You NBC people are
It's tough.
unbelievable. Coming up next, what do we got? Greatest
Oh.
moments in Oakland A's history. And in 15 minutes, I'll be on NBC Sports California hosting A's pre- and post-game live. And we'll see everybody Friday. What time? Friday at 2 o'clock. Thank you for watching A's Cast Live.
Great to see y'all.
Being a Chevron car these days has been quite the adventure. Miami to Seattle, ocean to ocean. I've stopped at so many states and collected so many bumper stickers. Sometimes I feel like a moving passport book. It's just so great what I can do with Chevron with Techron, because it gives me unbeatable mileage and keeps my engine clean. Plus, there are so many Chevrons along the way. Now the only thing I'm worried about is where to go next and where to put all my new bumper stickers. Chevron with Techron, fueled by possibility.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
This has been a presentation of the Oakland Athletics.